been arrested in connection to a chaotic armed robbery in Beverly Hills that sent patrons running for cover at the posh
Beverly Hills
Paseo restaurant back in March. Amid the chaos, a woman was shot in the leg and a $500,000 watch was snatched off of a jeweler's wrist.
Today we are learning more about the suspects behind the brazen
crime. $500,000 watch.
Mark Mester, live now in Beverly Hills with those details. Mark?
$500,000.
Yeah, Glenn, good afternoon to the two of you, and we have more details involving that watch, which is still missing at this hour. A $50,000 reward is still being offered up for its rightful return. We'll have more on that in just a moment, but first, let's go back to March 4th. This was more than 2 months ago. As you mentioned, at that popular restaurant just down the street, El Paseo, where more than 40 people were having lunch, then shots rang out. A woman ended up being hospitalized after a bullet grazed her leg.
Only in L.A.
Without that $500,000
Only in L.A.
This crime. It took more than 2 months, according to the Beverly Hills police chief. 3 members of the Rollin' 30s Crips street gang are now in custody.
Yesterday, detectives from Beverly Hills Police Department, with assistance of the FBI and Santa Monica Police Department, arrested 3 suspects responsible for the robbery and assault with a deadly weapon. The arrests took place across Southern California. All 3 suspects were taken into custody without incident.
Mugshots.
The arrest came after work from members of the FBI, detectives with the Beverly Hills Police Department, and also members of the Santa Monica Police Department. The arrests happened all throughout Southern California, according to authorities. And we just got our hands on these mugshots. You're looking at 20-year-old Malik Powell, 18-year-old Kai McGee, also known as Cameron Smith, and 30-year-old Marquise Anthony Garden.
Kai McGee is Cameron Smith.
Some surveillance pictures that we got for you back on March 4th, shortly after this crime happened. But those 3 suspects apparently spotted a watch being worn by a patron, that $500,000 watch. They tried to get it. A scuffle ensued.
It's
2
only
shots were fired.
$500,000.
A victim was hit. A victim that was sitting nearby. That
you
person
can buy
was
a car or a house
woman who
with
was
that
hospitalized.
Watch,
that person has since been released from the hospital. And authorities do tell us that they used DNA evidence from one of the suspects that was found on the clothing of the watch owner. That's the work that they used to get the suspects into custody, which happened back on May 9th. As we jump into some more video, we want to show you a picture of that watch. I would call it a Richard Mille watch. It is valued at more than $500,000. It is still missing at this hour. Authorities say there's still a $50,000 reward being offered in hopes of finding that watch and returning it to its rightful owner.
The watch is missing.
Live, there's more to come for you this afternoon on the news of 1 and 3.
We don't know what happened to the watch.
From the chief of police here in Beverly Hills, I asked him what
$500,000 watch
for the rise in crime, not only here in Beverly Hills but also throughout the state
Who's going
of
to pay?
California. He's going to give his answers coming up throughout this afternoon. But for
only
now,
in LA.
I'm live in Beverly Hills.
This is for Skaga and my mom.
Mark, thank you. House Republicans have removed Congresswoman Liz Cheney from their leadership team.